Welcome to another episode of the HR Champions podcast. And joining us for today is Miss Leslie Adorable. Miss Leslie is the Global HR Manager at Scale North. So thank you so much, Miss Leslie, for joining us for today's episode. And we are really excited to have you here.
Thank you so much, Homer. I'm also excited to be given an opportunity to talk with you. I'm pretty interested in your questions and what we're going to be doing for today.
Nice, nice. Okay, so before I dive into my HR questions to you, can you give us like a quick walkthrough of your career in HR?
Okay, quick walkthrough. I'll try to squeeze it in the best possible way that I can. Just a couple of minutes. Well, I started, I guess, my HR career basically as a call center agent. It's spanning 13 years. When I started out as a call center agent, I really didn't expect that it would become a career path. There's a progression in terms of what happened to me. So, from
Mm-hmm.
being a call center agent, I became a trainer, quality assurance analyst. So, for some people, they say that there's no career path in becoming or being a part of a call center industry, but there is. And I really took that seriously. After a while, I happened to feel that there's nothing else that I'll be doing. I've been to several different positions already.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody invited me to have a talk or to give a talk to group of new college graduates that we would like to invite for our career opportunities. So that started my HR career. I basically introduced the company to them. I also introduced the openings that we have. I wasn't able to realize at that point that I'm getting into recruitment. That's part of recruitment already. So I was thinking, oh no, I was just giving some talk and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And then afterwards, I got really attracted to it. I said to myself, HR is easy. It's an easy career. That's our impression. If you're not a part of HR, you'd feel that, yeah, they kind of have an easy job.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's my impression. But it didn't really happen as that. When I went to from being a sourcing person to becoming part of recruitment, I started thinking, this is hard. And you really have to have a passion for it. Eventually, from recruitment, I became a recruitment supervisor and then a recruitment manager to now an HR global manager for Scale North, wherein I don't just simply handle recruitment, I also take care of the benefits for our US employees and other folks in the firm.
Nice. Thank you for sharing. So,
Mhm.
you started so hindi ano. So, it wasn't a conscious decision to begin with to,
Yes,
to pursue it.
yes.
So what inspired you to pursue a career in HR?
Because I thought it was easy.
Talaga?
Because
Okay.
yeah, I thought it was easy.
Mhm.
People would say, "Oh, when you're part of HR, you just do some stuff, more of admin work and all that." And I
Uh-huh.
said to myself, "Yeah, they're taking, Philippine holiday offs, and I want to experience that." But when I started working and being a part of HR, there's more to it than meets the eye. You really have to have a
Yes.
passion for people and really genuinely caring for them. And that's what made the difference. And I think it's divine intervention as well. I think this is where God wants me to go. And I really took it seriously too.
Galing nga. Okay, so in your years being in HR, um, what has been like your biggest challenge being an HR leader?
Ooh, biggest challenge would actually be talent. Since I've always been a part of recruitment and sourcing, you always have to outthink, you always have to think outside of the box and really, really look for strategies as to where you'll be getting the talent. We have a strict and the stiff competition when it comes to talent, especially when
Mhm.
you're hiring for tech people and niche roles. It's really hard to hire them.
Yeah.
You have to be able to figure out where you're going to be sourcing them because there's a depleted pool already. And another thing lately that I've observed would actually be being overly sensitive to mental health. Don't get me
Mm.
wrong, Homer. I think
Go.
people have to be sensitive about mental health. However, there are some opportunities wherein people take advantage of that and being overly sensitive and being taking care of themselves first rather than pursuing the company's goals and
Mhm.
also really pushing themselves further.
Yeah.
It removes that persistent attitude that's what really drives us to excel. So sometimes I really have a hard time trying to balance it out, that I have to be overly sensitive. I have to take into consideration different, diverse attitudes of people, what they want, personalities. But at the end of the day, there's a struggle there in
Mhm.
terms of having a balance of these things.
Yeah. I can agree on you on that part when people are abusing, so to speak, that mental wellness or mental health, because um
Exactly.
there are employees who are, what's the correct word, like not being accountable. I think
Exactly.
that's what they're shying away from, and then the main reason, or that what they're reasoning out is mental health. So
Exactly. You
that's
have to give me a
sad.
break. You have to be sensitive to what's happening to me. Yeah. HR people are very capable of being sensitive to what they want and their needs. However, Homer, you also have to bear in mind, how will you be able to develop a strong workforce? A
Mm-hmm.
workforce that's all for really having passion for excellence if you're always thinking about being overly sensitive and thinking
Yes.
about their, that their struggles. So there's a there's a bit of a dilemma on that.
Mm-hmm. Agree. Miss Leslie, I forgot to ask. So, how many years you've been in HR?
13.
13.
Oh
Wow.
my
Galing.
gosh, 13
Okay.
years.
So
Yes.
in those 13 years, I'm sure you have gained and developed skills that really help you succeed in that field, in HR field. So for you,
Mhm.
what would be like the top 3 must-have skills or essentials for an HR practitioner to have in order to thrive in the HR space?
Very first, it's really the passion to serve. You really have
Passion.
to have that passion. And it's all for doing something for the betterment of others, not for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, you also have to understand that there's a lot of sacrifice involved.
Yes.
Secondly, humility. You can't be a good HR person if you're not humble enough to accept your faults, to accept shortcomings of people. We're people, we have weaknesses. But you also have to be humble enough to know that you can excel. You can further yourself better. And all the more that you can actually motivate others to improve themselves. And third, I guess, would always be open to changes.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically technology. I'm not a techie person, Homer, but I'm forced to really, be open to that possibility that we can do a lot of things with, especially artificial intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
AI helps me out in terms of me writing, notes, and I just kind of
Yes.
revise it. So it saves us time. It makes us, be more creative. They're already creative on its own, but
Mm-hmm.
your creativity is being, I guess, complemented with AI.
Yeah. Ang galing. Okay. So that's passion, humility, and being open to change.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. That last point, that being open to change, because actually there's no choice naman eh. You really have to adapt
Mm-mm.
change,
True.
'di ba?
True.
If not, you'll get left behind, 'di ba?
True. And a lot of HR practitioners, Homer, hindi sila. They don't want to adapt to change. Ayaw nila mag-adapt dun because they have a feeling that they already know it. They're
Mm.
experts. And but new people, the new breed, the newcomers, they teach us a lot of things, and we can
Yes.
learn a thing or two from
Mm.
them.
Agree. Okay, so my next question, Miss Leslie, is let's talk about employee retention. So there's a
Mm-hmm.
recent study wherein the top 3 most challenging roles for HR are recruitment, employee engagement, and then employee retention. I think those three are interrelated, more so
Mm-hmm.
the employee engagement and employee retention.
Mm-hmm.
What I find surprising, for me, when I first read that survey among HR community, is that I thought recruitment was the hardest because when
True.
again, like what you've said, the pool is not that deep, and everyone else
Exactly.
is competing for that pool of talent.
Mm-hmm.
Add to that, I know before you do your recruitment, of course, you have to do your study. You have to do the
Exactly.
benchmarking. You have to, of course, evaluate the needs of the company. How many heads do we need? What's the requirement? And then when those are laid out, you do the talent search itself. You do the screening, you do the
Mm-hmm.
shortlisting, you do the interview, you do the
True.
evaluation, and then the job offer, and then onboarding, and then that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I think that cycle was the hardest. But it turned out
Exactly.
ang mas mahirap pala is retaining them and keeping them engaged. So I want to
Mm-hmm.
know your thoughts on that. On why is it that employee retention is the most difficult part for HR teams?
Well, basically, because I think there should be a better understanding, and I'm so sorry to pinpoint it to operations,
Go lang.
because a lot of times, operations would have this feel and thought that the responsibility of really retaining employees rests solely on HR shoulders, which
No.
is not. It's a shared responsibility between the HR folks and also operations, because basically we get the talent, we do our research, basically we really give time and effort for us to be able to get that talent in.
Mhm.
But onboarding doesn't just stop on day one. Onboarding is an ongoing thing. It's something
Mhm.
that you would really have to be careful, and the onboarding experience itself is the most crucial of all, because
Mhm.
onboarding tells you that whatever you promised during recruitment is what's happening inside the
Yes.
company. And after onboarding, they started feeling, yeah, what Miss Leslie sold to me is true. And during the recruitment process, what she said was true. But okay, so I'm now into my third month in the company. What's next? And that is the most crucial. Onboarding, you can do so much in terms of that. And it's crucial that you do a very effective onboarding. But what's next or what comes after onboarding is crucial. And that rests solely, I guess, on operation shoulders, because basically they also have to know what's happening. They have to buddy up with someone. They have to feel competent enough to do the task that they
Mhm.
do. And whenever that employee started not feeling that way, there's a question of competence, that nobody understands them and listens to them. That's when they start thinking, perhaps I should be leaving the company, perhaps there's an opportunity elsewhere, and we don't want them to get to that. We have to be able to make operations understand, and I think they do. There are
Mhm.
a lot of operations, even for Scale North, that they understand that there's a lot of investment in terms of recruitment, hiring the talent, training them. But again, at the end of the day, there has to be a more conscious effort of retaining people, especially during, once they're inside operations.
Mhm. I'm just curious because I think some companies are doing this, or I'm not sure if you're also doing it at Scale North. They have this like 3 month and 6 month feedback survey, some sort of, just to
Hmm.
gauge how the employees or how new employees are doing. So do you
Very
also
good.
do
That's
that?
right. We have what we call some sort of a feedback session for our
Yeah,
new
that
hires.
feedback.
We kind of ask them what's happening with them. I think this is a practice that we started actually doing. I guess it's not formal, but we wanted to have a feel of how they are, because basically they had a very good start. When you
Mm-hmm.
recruited them, the feeling was way up there, and you
Yeah.
want to make sure that it's still being maintained. So you want to
Mm-mm.
ask them what's happening with you right now. Are you okay? Apart from the employee engagement survey that we do once or even twice a year, in Scale North, we did that, and we were pretty happy with the results that we got, because we're hitting around 80 to 90% in terms of the satisfaction that we got from
Nice.
employees, and we want to maintain that.
Great, great, great to hear. So I forget to ask, how many employees do you have at Scale North?
We're actually around 260 and growing. So
Mm-hmm.
when the company started, there were only 5 people in 2018, but right now we're growing
Wow.
260 and onwards.
Okay, so that's 260 plus employees. Is that in the Philippines alone or?
Oh, it's a global company, Homer. We don't I mean, general population would actually be in the Philippines, but we
Mhm.
also have a lot of our leaders that are in the United States, some coming from India, some from UAE, Taiwan. So we really operate on a global scale, and we're not sure as to who or where will we be able to hire next in terms of the talent.
Okay. Okay, understand. Okay, let's move on. Miss Leslie,
Mhm.
let's talk about ano naman. Um, diversity. Diversity in terms of the generation gap. And the generation
Mhm.
being present in the workforce.
Mhm.
Because workforce now, again being diverse, are made up of is made up of different employees coming from different generations, 'di ba? You have
True.
your baby boomers, you have your Gen X, you have your millennials, and now Gen Zs, right?
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
each generation of employees has their own unique blind spots and bright spots, so to speak.
Exactly.
'Di ba?
That's right.
So
That's right.
Gen Zs, these are the generations that are like digital natives. I'm not sure if you've heard the term. Kasi sila
Mm-hmm,
yun
mm-hmm,
talagang very well versed when it comes to technology and what's happening online.
mm-hmm.
But sila rin yung generation na medyo mababa yung threshold when it comes to to pressure. Um,
Exactly.
'Di ba? The baby
Sorry.
boomers, the baby boomers, these are the ones that are really loyal, really hardworking.
Mm-hmm.
But like what
Yep.
you've shared kanina, these naman are the one who are very resistant to change.
Exactly.
Because they want they these things work. So why change? So that's their common reasoning. Um
Exactly.
so being an HR leader, how do you strike the balance, or how can you lead a workforce that has this different generations and making sure they feel they are involved, they're not left behind, and
Mm-hmm.
making things work for everyone.
Very good question at that. When you hire them, you already have an idea as to what which generation they're actually a part of. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, the good thing about the process that we have is that when we do interviews, it's not really your typical interview. I really engage them in a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
The typical question that I ask them would be, where are you at your point right now, and why do you think does a remote opportunity work for you? Because a lot of people would like to be working remotely, Homer. Don't
Yes.
get me wrong. They like it because that was the effect of the pandemic, the convenience and all. But I also asked them the question as to why are you choosing this now? Because there are life events that are happening in a specific individual's life that is crucial to that question. And once you get that, you start actually thinking, okay, so since this person's motivation and main goal is this, then we work towards that. That's what makes what you have attractive. Specifically,
Mm.
if you're a boomer, you want stability.
Yeah.
So you don't want to actually fix some things that are not broken. So we tell them that this is a stable company. This is what we can offer. This is the last company that you're going to be staying. If you want a remote opportunity, this is it. There's career progression here. If it's a Gen Z, this is a technology company. You'll be learning a lot. You'll be undergoing certifications and trainings. You'll be sharing process improvement. You want to make things operate faster. We welcome that. We welcome ideas and change. So you really cater to what attracts them the most, and that particular quality of that particular generation. The only thing that I really want to improve in terms of the population, because basically in Scale North we have a lot of Gen Z's and
Mm-hmm.
millennials as well. I really wanna push them. They're really professional folks, and I think they're up to the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
But I also want them to really push for grit. So grit is really the
Great.
main thing that drives people to really be persistent and be open to challenge. I want this people to have that. Even if they're youngsters, even if they're part of that generation, I hope they develop that. And that's what's my take all the time. Because I'm part of HR and I'm the HR manager, I always give them advice and I kind of steer them towards that.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
said a lot.
Mm. Can't agree more, Miss Leslie. By the way, how many are you in the HR team?
Oh, we're a magical team of seven. Wow,
Wow.
catering to 250 plus folks.
Mm.
Trying to
Tama.
make a difference.
I think that's great to know kasi hindi naman it's not easy for like a staff of two to do all those things, right? Especially
Exactly.
when you're trying to design a program that's not something na catch all. I think there's no such a thing as that will, because
Wala talaga.
'di ba, some programs might work for this batch but not as effective to this batch, 'di ba? So
True,
kailangan talaga
true.
ng collaboration within the team on how we can come up with a really effective solution, right?
Mhm.
Na
True,
that
true.
can relate to the workforce, 'di ba?
isa ko pa nga naiisip ngayon, Homer, is that, di ba parati nating sinasabi, when we get to actually decide on something as HR people, you have to have an unbiased judgment, the best
Mhm.
judgment so far. Walang best judgment. Always, the best judgment would always be catering to the most. But
Majority.
definitely, there will be a marginalized few that will
Mhm.
feel that the judgment is not fair. So, ganun talaga yung work. Kumbaga, nakakatawa nga yung work ng HR kasi challenging siya in that sense.
Yes. Challenging. That's I can't ano pa ba? That's kasi you kanina that what you're describing kasi 'di ba they this is off question muna but off topic but well, like
Sure.
I remember what you said kanina because yung initial impression is easy 'di ba but without them knowing
True.
on what's happening behind the scenes what HR is doing kasi as being an employee myself ganun yung ano ko rin impression ko with HR madali lang ginagawa niyan without me knowing how difficult it is, what it takes for them to do their job, to do their roles. Galing.
True.
Mm-mm.
There's an impression pa of, lazy naman. Naku, bukas pa yan gagawin ni HR. It's not really, I think, there may be some still. I don't know. They
Mm-hmm.
may have seen something. I may have seen something. But believe me when I tell you that if you're part of HR, people will, there are people that care. So
Yeah.
they definitely would want to make things efficient and fast.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yun.
Okay. Moving on. My next question. Let's discuss naman about health, because
Mm-hmm.
great attention has been given to the physical and mental health of employees, which is a good thing, especially these nag-peak to during pandemic, right? So
Yes.
we're in companies really invested on health of the employees, diba? For the physical health, um, companies invested on providing enough PPEs,
Mm-hmm.
face mask, face shield, right? Um, I I remember one of my guests shared na they invested on medicines, on multivitamins. Even
True. True
even
yan.
nung wala pang vaccine, no, since wala pang vaccine, let's give them flu shots. So
Mm-hmm.
they were
True.
really like really invested on the physical health. On the mental
Mm-hmm.
health, they provided the wellness seminar, mental wellness seminar, di ba? And then ang dami ng ano, ang daming programs that HR implemented just to make sure yung burnout will be addressed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the
True.
situation was really desperate, and you really want to keep your employees safe and sane. So they
Mm-hmm.
really implemented those programs, which is a good thing. And I know up to now, most companies are still doing it, right?
True. True.
But what we have observed, one side of health that was not given that much highlight was the financial health. Kasi 'di ba during the
Mm-hmm.
pandemic,
True.
so many companies ceased their operations, especially startups, right? So when that happened, employees experience like, hey, where am I going to get my funds now?
Mm-hmm.
Emergency
True.
funds
True.
were used up, were depleted, and then they feel anxiety, and then that's domino effect na, right? So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
as an HR leader, how do you see now financial health as a focal point when designing employee engagement programs for the company?
Very good question, Homer. I think it's very crucial and key. I would have to say that for Scale North, when we started out in 2018, there's definitely HR there, but just a few folks. It
Mm-hmm.
was only in 2022 that we started really, I think, in the VP for People and Development, my boss would agree to this, that we started being more aggressive in terms of the things that we do for our employees, and there we started putting structure. I think for now, I'll be honest that we're not able to address financial literacy yet.
Mm-hmm.
Two, a remote opportunity that if you ask me, Homer, it really offers a very competitive salary for all employees in Scale North. So I think that's something that we kind of lack. There has to be a financial literacy seminar, or people has to be taught as to how to save money or where to invest. Because basically, on the mental side of things, we were able to cover it.
Mm-hmm.
We have a coverage in terms of doing remote mental coaching, or if you want to talk to someone, there's a remote opportunity for that. as arranged with our provider. We also have extensive medical coverage just in case that our employees, knock on wood, would be experiencing COVID. So
Mm.
imagine COVID medical expenses is really sky
Yes.
high. So we
Yes.
are covered. I think it's a very unique coverage that we have with Scale North because it's really extensive. So we will be able to afford just in case our employees will have COVID. But financial literacy, we haven't addressed that yet, and I think that's really crucial because basically the more that you care about how your employees are in terms of their finances, the more that they really appreciate it, because
Yeah.
basically the salaries, they get depleted, you lose it. And for most of the people in Scale North, they can afford travel and a lot of good stuff. So I think we have to be able to think about that.
Mm. Nice. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Miss Leslie. Um,
Sure.
I'm sure you're familiar with the resignation fever. That I'm not sure if you've experienced it here in the Philippines, but I'm sure you are aware. We're in Q4 is, although kakatapos lang ng Q4, it's notorious for the fever resignation, 'di ba? After
True.
they get their bonus, their 13-month pay and other fringe benefits being offered by the company. But beneath that, the resignation is already there. So
Yes.
because of most of them are thinking, though I don't have exact figures, but this is something that I have observed in my being an employee, um thinking that the following year, maybe January or February, I have a fresh start on my career. So
Mhm.
I don't know why is it still a trend that
Mhm.
most employees are waiting for Q4 before they resign. So I want to know your opinion on that.
Let me let me tell you more, and let me share with you a secret of HR, because basically
Go.
when we study the employee life cycle, we also study the strategies of retention. One of the strategies that we employ is the timing of giving of benefits. You already know, if you're a
Mm,
recruitment person, that it's high time that you'll start re-engaging again your machines for recruitment come Q3. It's gonna dwindle down. There's not gonna be much
mm,
opportunity to hire. But Q4, you have to start gearing your engine, because expect it that on January 1st and 2nd week, a lot of resignations will be coming in. It's not the practice that we have for Scale North, because basically the benefits that we have or the bonuses will not be coming in during December. It's around
mm,
January to February, but still, I don't see, and thank God, we don't see a trend yet of people leaving after we give out the bonuses and the
mm,
increases. But in a typical Filipino setting, in the ex company that I've been a part of, that's an employment retention strategy that we do. We really time out the giving of the benefits. Like for 13th month, the increase, we don't give it out unless they stay for like this, and we
mm,
count a few more weeks and all that. Yes, it's still happening. And I think it's true for people that do not feel that where they are right now is where they're supposed to be. You will always
mm,
have that feeling that you have a better opportunity elsewhere because your mindset is such. But if you're really bent on having a career and really staying, it still counts. I'm just when I look at people's resume, I don't really judge them for the stints and how short-lived they are. There are reasons for that. But what I'm gonna tell you is that there are still people who look at tenure as very
mm.
important. So staying power is something that will work to your advantage if you're going to be applying for a new job. So there's still some people who do that. They take risk. And there's a certain reason for that.
Hmm. Nice. I agree. I think um for me, this is my thought on that. I wish when people or employees transfer or leave, I wish it's because of career growth, of a better pay, right? So that's my wish, and not because there's something wrong in the company, right?
Exactly.
There,
And and
there
and
there's
and, and we're about to get to that, Homer. One
mm-mm.
thing that I don't like as a practice for most companies is the counter offer. And I think
Ah,
you're
yeah,
aware of
yeah,
that.
yes.
They start taking notice of employees when people start giving them the clue that they're leaving. And I hate that.
Oh.
When somebody tells me that, I'm trying to recruit or hire this person, and this person tells me, oh, Miss Leslie, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be getting the job offer because our company did a counter offer. I would tell them, are you sure about that? Because why would they time it in such a way wherein you're about to leave? I mean, if you
Mm-mm.
want to care for employees, you don't do it at the end part of their career or stay with you. You do it all throughout. You do
Mm-mm.
your best to do that and not do a counter offer. Because for me, that's really, I don't know. It's not genuine.
Yes, and it says a lot about the culture, right, in the company.
Exactly. Oh, I forgot about you. But now I remember you because you're leaving. So I'm gonna I'm gonna attract you with this and benefits and all that. And for
Mm-mm.
me, that's really that's not a good practice.
Yeah, that's a big no-no. And management should learn from that. 'Di ba? You should
Exactly.
keep your employees, take care of them. Not to the last minute that you realize, oh, you're important. I'll give you this. 'Di ba? Sana
But
ano.
there are still a lot of companies
Yeah,
that
sadly.
practice counter offer. Yep.
Sadly. Okay. So let's talk about AI. AI in its
Mm-hmm.
different form. Because it's
Mm-hmm.
no secret AI is really here to stay, and it's no way but to move forward. And AI has this really immense potential and like a profound impact across all industries. Diba?
Sure.
It's no secret. Everyone is using it. Like what you shared kanina when you're creating perhaps a note or a memo, let prompts kay GPT, and then let GPT do the hard work, diba? Do the heavy lifting when it comes to things like that. So you can focus more on more you can focus more on your core responsibilities.
Sure.
Now, how do you see AI along with its different form being a tool that HR can capitalize to streamline and to make things easier for you?
I see it positively. For some people, again, you have to be open to change and what the times dictate. Because basically, if it's the time for technology, then you would have to really, take advantage of that. And for me, I'm open to AI, in as much as it takes away a lot of time for administrative work and thinking and all that. You still think, you still analyze, but basically the creativity is already there, and AI helps you out with that. So I'm pretty
Mm-hmm.
open. We just have to know when to use it and how to maximize it.
Mm, nice. My guest shared. One of their way of taking advantage of AI is through chatbots. Like for
Mm-hmm.
example, they have like 1,000 applications. They will funnel it down to 500 using chatbots. Yes or no? Tapos
Mm-hmm.
after that, that 500 or 200 will be again narrowed down to 100, and then HR comes in, right? So imagine of screening the 1,000 employees down to 100. Before, that will take a lot of effort from the HR team, right? But now,
Mm-hmm.
since AI is there, it's definitely easier for them to do the recruitment and to filter, di
Mm-hmm.
ba?
Mm-hmm. True. We don't have that, Homer. And this is where the old style really, for me, I appreciate it.
Mm,
Because basically we don't have a lot. We are of a pretty niche type of talent that we're looking for. So it
mm,
really doesn't reach 200 and all that. I think at the most would be 50. So I'm
mm,
still appreciative of me being able to really screen them effectively.
mm,
Plus, what I do appreciate is LinkedIn, because LinkedIn kind of matches what you search for. And it
mm,
really helps out in terms of identifying the right candidates. So we will be able to make use of AI through letters and the emails that we do for LinkedIn. But other than that, it's the old fashioned way that we still employ. But it's good that they're able to, because in some settings, there are a lot of applicants. I can just imagine. In a BPO
mm,
setting, there's a lot coming in, and they really need all the help that they can get.
mm. Eto, my next question, Miss Leslie, is about war for talents.
Mm-hmm.
Let's discuss that. Because nowadays with remote working, kanina pa natin pinag-uusapan, and work anywhere, work from home, work at your own
Mm-hmm.
pace, 'di ba? It's no secret that competition now for talents is it's fiercer, 'di ba?
Exactly.
Before it's only local companies who are competing for Filipino talents. But
Mm-hmm.
now any company in the world can tap Filipino talents. 'Di ba?
Mm-hmm.
So I can just imagine how hard it is for recruitment to attract talents.
Mhm.
So, how do you or how is your company adapting to this phenomenon?
Mhm.
Na again, it's anyone is competing for talents.
Mhm. I think one thing that we always try to remember is that we operate well. So
Mhm.
so whatever we do, employees have to be happy because that's where the culture will be coming in, and your employees are the ones who get to promote your brand. So they
Mm.
participate through Glassdoor reviews. They actually refer a lot of people. I think 60% of the hires that I have are coming from referrals. So basically, if they're not happy with where they are, they won't refer. So branding is something that's made within the company. If you treat your employees really well, the brand would speak for itself. They will be the ones who champion your brand. They'll be the
Yes.
ones to promote it outside. So
Mm.
that's where you have to start. Rather than paying for marketing campaigns, promotional materials, and all that, we really don't do that. It's our own employees who get to market for us. So, war for talent, you just have to play it right. You do your best to become a respected company or firm so that your people will speak for yourself. You will become a global brand that's respected anywhere. We are operating in a NetSuite space. So Homer medyo maliit yung
Mm.
ginagalawan, magkakakilala.
Yes.
So the reputation is really, you have to have a very good reputation if you want to be known as a NetSuite brand. So yun yung tinatry namin na i-maintain talaga.
Mm. Yeah. And it really plays a crucial role when employees are your ambassadors. No? Again, what you've said, there's no need for you to do the marketing and the branding because employees will do it themselves. Diba?
Yes. Yes.
Mm.
And of course, for some companies, what work would be always checking for competitiveness in terms of the salary range
Mm,
of the market.
of
Because
course.
sometimes, perhaps you'd think that you are competitive enough, but you always have to have that in check every 2 years. For some, they get to employ the help of salaries survey firms or salary study firms. But for us, we don't do that. We kind of check out what's happening in the market and try to check if the salary range that we have is competitive enough because that really also says a lot.
Yeah, that's important. Mm.
Mhm.
Ito, my next question, um, if there's one HR misconception, diba? Misconception about HR that you want to bust, you want to disprove, what would
Mhm.
it be?
Yung sinabi ko nung una, which is HR is an easy work. It never is. I think the more
Never
that you
will
become
be.
a part, it never will be. The more that you become a part of HR, the more that you get to be tenured in HR, the more that you really sacrifice a lot.
Mm.
There are times or opportunities wherein we really want to maintain work-life harmony, especially for, of course, Scale North. It's already, I think it's convenient that you're working from home, but even at that point, you still care for the employees.
Yeah.
You really want to log in early, you really want to log out early because there are tasks that you feel that it's crucial so that you get to finish it for the employees and it's for their benefit. So you really have to have the passion to serve. Mali yung iniisip na madali siya, hindi talaga. So
Mm.
if you want to be a part of HR, you really have to have the heart for it.
Yeah, exactly. Ito,
Mhm.
oh, how about in the landscape of HR here in the Philippines? I'm not sure if you can
Mhm.
relate kasi global yung company mo. But if there's one major change that you want to happen, that you want to see, hopefully soon, so what would it be?
In the Philippines, change would be more automation. Yes, there's AI,
Automation.
but more automation in terms of that. It's not because people aren't competent in doing their jobs. They really have to have help. Kailangan lang may access to quick things, data, and all that. And automation makes data something that's really accessible. Because for you to be able to hire or recruit, especially to source, you have
Mm.
to have the analytics, you have to study where it's coming from, you have to analyze where your talent is. So yun, if people will be able to access more of that data, then they will have a better time searching for talents, improving stuff within
Mm.
HR.
I agree. Okay. Miss Leslie, I'm down to my last question. So
Sure.
if you have one advice or message to the young bloods, who
Mhm.
are looking to start a career in the human resources. So what would be your message or your best advice for them?
Number one, think 100 times. Are you sure that you want to be a part of HR?
Mm-hmm.
And where is this coming from? If you want to be a part of HR, why do you want to be a part of HR? That's the very first thing that you want to ask yourself. Because basically, you're going to be giving away parts of yourself to others, either to enrich them, to mentor them, to make things better, to coach them. For me, every opportunity that I get to talk in to an applicant is an opportunity for me to better them, to really coach them, to make them feel more confident about themselves. And it really takes a toll. After few years or times. So I really want them to really think about it. And if they have a passion to serve and they're not after the money, very few times that you really have earn a lot if you're a part of HR, then it's go ahead and do it. And it's all for you. But if you have other reasons for getting into that and you really need the money, then this is not something that you want to get into first. You may want to get into it at the latter part of your career, but not now.
Mm, okay. Thank you, Miss Leslie. Actually, that's my last question, and
Hmm.
I want to take this opportunity to thank you. Actually, not only you, but for the HR community,
Exactly.
because
True, true, true.
um, what I said kanina, it's very stereotype ang tingin ko kay HR before, very administrative, and that's it. But it's only when I started talking to HR professionals like you, then I really realized it's not a walk in the park to be in HR. A
True.
lot is going on. It takes an insanely amount of of skill, of patience, dedication, passion that that is unnoticed, unrecognized.
True,
And this
true.
is I think time for me to give you your flowers, and
Wow.
to show my appreciation not only for you but for HR kasi
True,
talagang
true.
it's really something that opened my mind na again a lot is happening. HR are doing their roles just to keep the company afloat na hindi
True.
nakikita. Kasi 'di ba, truth be told, it's sales or other departments na they have that rockstar treatment. Sila yung nare-recognize
Exactly. The
lagi, 'di ba?
revenue generating and
Generating,
all that.
'di
Mm-hmm.
ba? But people, employees um are they forget HR, which they
Mm-hmm.
should not. We should never forget HR. So with that, thank you so much for what you do, for being an HR. So, before I end the podcast, I'm sure familiar ka ba sa Fast Talk?
Yes, nakita ko na yung
Okay.
mga podcast, may fast talk talaga sa dulo.
Okay, so familiar ka na pala. So let's start. Work from home or
Mhm.
on-site?
Of course, work from home.
Okay. Company outing or Christmas party?
Company outing.
Empathy or competency?
Empathy.
Recruitment or training?
I love both. I came from both, but
Let's
recruitment is the
okay.
best.
Recruitment. Talent acquisition. Uniform or dress down?
Dress down.
Mhm. Microwave or ref in pantry?
Microwave because I can't eat cold food.
Windows or Mac?
Windows.
Yeah, Windows rules. Presenter or
Mhm.
part of the audience?
Presenter.
Nice. Calendar or email?
Calendar.
Hmm. Ayaw mo ng email?
Okay naman sa email. I really respond fast, but calendar makes things, makes me
More
remember stuff.
organized, di ba? Okay.
Oo,
And
nakalimutan
then,
ko yun.
Facebook or LinkedIn?
LinkedIn, of
Nice.
course.
Okay, that's it. Thank you so much, Miss Leslie, for taking part of this podcast. I really learned a lot, and I'm sure our listeners will also learn a lot
Sana meron.
from what you've
I
shared.
hope they do. I hope they
They
do.
they will of definitely. So if there's listeners out there who wants to network with you, I'm giving you
Mhm.
now the floor, and maybe you want to promote Scale North.
Thank you so much, Homer, for giving me the opportunity to talk to you today. I want to promote our company, Scale North. We're a NetSuite partner that's basically operating fully remote and work from home. If you want to pursue opportunities, if you're an accounting person, a person that's all for tech and knows NetSuite, there is a career for you here at Scale North. There's career progression, and I've seen it. There are a lot of opportunities for you to be rewarded not only financially but career-wise. So get in touch with me. You will be able to see my LinkedIn profile in LinkedIn. Just message me and I'll be there to assist you.
Nice. Can I share your LinkedIn page here? I can take a
Sure.
snapshot, then I'll post it here
Please,
for
please,
our
please
viewers
do.
to for easy for them to reach out to you. Okay.
Thank you,
So
Homer.
that's it. This has been your HR Champions podcast. See you on our next episode.
Thank you.